Tennessee Titans fans, it appears that this is what it took to get the Titans to be a topic of discussion on First Take. 1-4, everything is terrible. Calvin Ridley had some comments after the game, and they are discussing it on First Take on ESPN. It took this to get them to care enough to talk about the Titans. So let's hear what they had to say.
Ridley is what raised some eyebrows. The Titans wideout was targeted 8 times, but came up with no catches. In fact, he only has 14 receiving yards over his last 3 games. And so what is going on? Well, here's Ridley.
I had targets in what part of the game I had targets?
Fourth quarter, a lot of them.
All right, then. So I need some in the beginning of the game, too, then. Like, getting crazy for me. So I'm just... it is what it is. But I suck today. I gotta be better.
I mean, I'm not going to fault the guy for being frustrated. I think everybody is frustrated. But he said it right there at the end. He's got to be better. He had a couple of drops. But of the 8 targets that he got, I mean, most of them were, just flat out not even in the vicinity of being catchable. But then again, still, $92 million, there were a couple of them that he dropped. So, let's give credit
but
where
I got to
it's
get
due.
the ball a little early in the game so I can be in the game and here with the team so I can play well also.
Did you expect to get targets early? Just kind of.
I don't know. We just, we trying to win the game.
Look, he's not wrong. He was only targeted 2 times in the first half. But nonetheless, Shannon, what do you think of the frustration from Ridley?
I understand his frustration. If you hear Tom Brady talk, he said he made a conscious effort to get his playmakers the ball early. Because if you get them early, you'll have them late. But Calvin needs to understand, you got that money because you knew Will Levis or Malik Willis was going to be your quarterback. You left a situation with Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence is struggling, but I don't think anybody thinks that Will Levis or Malik Willis is better than Trevor Lawrence. And so you took the money.
That's correct. That's a low bar for Trevor Lawrence to clear for all the money he's getting paid. But yes, to end any dispute, Trevor Lawrence is better than Will Levis, all right?
You must understand, Dio, I don't know how many times you've been in free agency, but in free agency, when you go somewhere, you better go to a place that's going to use you like you were where you just left. Because if you don't get used like that, we see guys all the time. They go from a 3-4, and all of a sudden they play a down, they play on a 4-3 defensive end. Or they're a 4-3 defensive end, and the team that gets them, they ask them to stand up. You need to be used just like you were where they fell in love and they gave you a boatload of money to come over there. I get his frustration, and people don't seem to understand that. Just catch the ball. Just imagine if you ask Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, or any great basketball player, we don't want you to shoot any shots in the first half, or we want you to shoot minimal shots, 1 to 2. But then fourth quarter, when we're down, we want you to catch fire.
I can't disagree with anything he's saying. I will say, the idea that you get what you get when you go to the Titans because you knew their quarterback situation was iffy, fair, but if you're the Titans, you paid the guy $92 million. You surely had to have plans to use him. Like, there's no way you pay a guy $92 million just to bring him in and not throw him the ball or find ways to get him the ball. Now, in terms of what he's talking about with Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, some of these great basketball players, if they're not getting any shots off early in the game, what do you expect them to do late? That's a great comparison. The Titans... And I did a whole podcast episode about it yesterday. You can go check it out. But Brian Callahan, the head coach and play caller for the Tennessee Titans, is calling plays scared. He's terrified of Will Levis, and I get it. But if you're so terrified of him that you can't even get your $92 million receivers involved in the game because you're so scared, or if he's so bad that even when these guys are open, he can't get them the ball, you need to just go to somebody else. You cannot continue to ask these men who are putting their bodies on the line every single day to keep going out there knowing that you can't even run a competent, normal NFL offense because you have so little belief in your quarterback. Stop me when I'm lying. You know I'm telling the truth. Even the biggest supporters of the quarterback, you know I'm telling the truth.
It doesn't work like that, guys. It really doesn't.
Ridley's dead on. I mean, he's dead accurate. His first catch came in the third quarter with 9:39 on the clock.
No, it didn't, because he didn't have any catches. But I think Dan is getting confused because they ran a reverse, like one of those jet sweep things with Calvin Ridley. That is when he first touched the ball in the game. It was not a reception; it was a carry.
It's a $92 million contract. That's I mean, he would get a touch in the first 5 snaps of the game if you're kind of making sure that you. Why'd you spend all that money? Now here's Shannon. Here's where I am, Stephen A. with this is there's also the reality that in Tennessee right now, the best thing for their football team is to hand the ball off. That's the best thing for their team is to go and give the ball to a player like Tajay Spears or Tony. Because Will right now is still in the
mess.
Development. I mean, the late interception.
A mess would be a good way to say it. But do you see the interesting dilemma that the whole point of this season for Tennessee was, let's see what we've got with Will Levis. But we're too afraid to even let the guy drop. If you're too afraid to even let the guy drop back and pass until it's desperation time, that ought to tell you everything you need to know about what you have with Will Levis. If you're too afraid to even let the guy play quarterback like a normal person because either you think he's so bad or you don't trust him, which I understand, what more do we need to see? What more do we need to see? You don't even trust him to drop back and throw the ball to your $92 million receiver? What more needs to be seen?
So you gave him $92 million, but you're trying to win a game as well. And the best thing you could do is not throw the football right now. And that's where it's not a good situation. So I completely agree with Rid's comments. He had a couple drops of his own. There's no
that play right there, and I don't know how well you can see it. That play right there was the one Ridley should have had. That's a bad indictment on him, that play. But most of these problems are due to, I said this on Two Tone Talk Twitter account today, twotone_podcast. The quarterback is the biggest problem in Tennessee, and it's not even close. You've got a wide receiver you paid $92 million, and you can't even get him the ball because it's in your best interest just to hand it off and play a boring, uninspired style of football that can only win you so many games because that's the only way you can win right now because quarterback play is so poor.
Question. Completely agree with his comments, but they're not in an ideal situation offensively in Tennessee.
No.
Well, it's a couple of things that we have to bring up. First of all, I know that Calvin really has some troubles, but he's back in the National Football League. Props to him. We know this brother can play. Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you and Shannon. He is not a scrub. Here's all you need to know. In 5 games, he has 9 catches.
$92 million.
No. That's not his fault. We know on his worst day, he's better than that. The fact that he only has 9 receptions in 5 games is an indictment against the Tennessee Titans. That's not him.
The days of me getting on here and ranting and raving about how wrong these guys are, it's over. Because they're right. It's an indictment on the entire organization. However you got here, you've got a guy you were thrilled to go out and pay $92 million, and you can't even figure out a way to even come close to getting him the ball. That's an indictment on everybody from the tippy top all the way down to the bottom.
We know he's better than that. We know he's better than that. And Shannon, you're absolutely right in terms of being careful about where you go, where your locale is going to end up being, because in order to be a successful receiver, you got to have somebody to throw you the football, okay? And this dude Levis, I mean, listen, we know him for mayonnaise, the mayonnaise commercials. That's what we know him for. We know him for that. Okay, and we know him because the first 2 games of the season, he made 2 of the dumbest, most boneheaded plays you could possibly fathom. And a rookie head coach, Brian Callahan, called him out and was unapologetic, even upon reflection, because he was so disgusted. And let's understand this. Y'all know this better than me. Demoralization kicked in. You see this cat and those dumbass mistakes that he was making. You end up 0-2, losing your first 2 games, okay? And then from that point forward, you're 0-3, right? Because you get blown out by Green Bay. Yeah. And then after that,
Malik Willis in Green Bay, the guy you traded away, the quarterback that was actually getting better, the quarterback that was actually slowly but surely developing. You traded him, and then he came back and whooped your butt.
Remember, the only reason you beat Miami is because Tua wasn't there. You wasn't beating Miami if Tua was there.
He got hurt, remember, and then Mason Rudolph went in and played well.
There you go, right? So you got that going on, right? And then now you've lost this. They should easily be winless on the season. He's been targeted 27 times in 5 games.
He's right. They could easily be winless on the season. But you could also make this argument, because I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm not a big Mason Rudolph believer. But what do you think the Titans' record would be if they had started Mason Rudolph from the beginning? I have to believe they would have beaten the Bears with Mason Rudolph. I don't think they would beat the Bears right now because the Bears have gotten better. But in week 1, I think they would have beaten the Bears. They were up 17-0 on the Bears. I think you beat the Bears with Mason Rudolph. Obviously, you beat Miami under the circumstances with Mason Rudolph. I think you beat Indianapolis on this past Sunday with Mason Rudolph. So at least they would be 3-2 right now. And you could make the argument they would have beaten the Jets in week 2 with Mason Rudolph. So yes, Stephen A is right. They could very easily be 0-5 right now. 0-5. But they could also, with somebody else in there instead of Will Levis, you could be 3-2 or 4-1 right now. Because of the games, except for that Green Bay game, the other losses have all been close.
He's got 9 receptions, and you're out there talking about how, you know what, he should be targeted earlier. You're damn right he should be. Well, why wouldn't you? You're not doing that because of he's bereft of skill. You're doing it because you don't have faith that the quarterback's going to be able to get it to him.
Yeah.
And when you have that as your reality, and everybody and their grandmama knows it, demoralization kicks in. Because, okay, we damn near one-dimensional because we can't trust the quarterback to get us the football.
No, we're not almost one-dimensional. We are. The Tennessee Titans currently are the definition of a one-dimensional offense. If you are preparing to play the Titans right now, are you accounting for the pass game at all? Or are you saying, we've got to stop Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears and the run game? That's what we have to stop. Make them beat us throwing. The Buffalo Bills, right now, are getting ready to play the Tennessee Titans this Sunday, and I guarantee you that's what they're saying in Buffalo. Just stop the run. Don't let them run on you. That's all they can do.
That's the issue in Tennessee.
Brian Callahan.
Stephen A., let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Shane, let me ask Stephen A. a question. Malik Willis and Will Levis is going to be your quarterback.
Sounds a little hoarse. No comment.
You play a dependent position, and you're going to ask 2 guys that hadn't had a whole lot of experience in the NFL, how many catches you think you're going to get?
Hold on, Shannon. Shannon, let me answer that for you. I get you. You're right. You're not going to get many. But damn, let me repeat the number. 9 receptions in 5 games?
Yeah, that's shocking.
I mean, come on, Shannon. I mean, you bring up your bad hips and all, right? Let me tell you something right now. You would expect to get 9 receptions in 5 games right now. I mean, that's bad. That's really, really bad.
Yeah.
See, but here's the thing. You said the question. You say, Shane, let me ask you a question. 9 catches in 5 games? The answer, Will Levis.
Yeah.
Okay. So you asked me a question. I just gave you the answer.
I'm saying you got the answer, but if you Calvin Ridley, there's no way you could have anticipated it was going to be that damn bad.
No.
There are certain things that you're going like this. Damn, I didn't know it was going to be this bad.
Look, Brian.
That's all I'm saying.
I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I didn't have as much faith in Will Levis as some of you did, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. It's worse than I could have thought.
Brian Callahan comes over.
Dio, clearly he hadn't been watching Will Levis play. Stephen A., you must be new to the Will Levis party. Because if you know anything about this party, they're not very good.
How the hell he get these commercials then, man?
He eats
I mean, yeah. See, that's the problem with America.
He's got taste
that's the
buds
problem
like
with
Dan
America
Orlovsky.
right there. Right there's the problem with America. We got to stop rewarding mediocrity. You understand what I'm trying to say? You should be able to accomplish it. How you gonna get a mayonnaise commercial? You understand? And you looking like, and you playing like that?
Right.
I mean, come on.
We got to
come
go
on.
to the biggest story of the day.
Another.
He said it. He said it. Let's just sit with it for a second. Marinate in what we just heard from Stephen A. Smith. Right there. Just let it seep into the pores of your skin. There is a such term as counting your chickens before they hatch. We all counted our chickens before they hatched. We thought, because of a couple of good games we saw last season, we thought that we could tap into that and have that every single week. But time has proven, and don't talk to me about play calling, don't talk to me about offensive line, don't talk to me about receivers, don't talk to me about, offensive coordinators and whatnot. I've already played this game once with former Titans quarterbacks. I tried to blame everybody but them. I twisted myself in knots to come up with excuses. No, I'm not this time. I'm done doing PR for quarterbacks. I'm done. We are not going to reward mediocrity. This ain't even mediocrity. This is just flat out bad. Mediocrity is just not when I think of mediocrity, I think of something that's not good. But this is even below that. This is just flat out awful. December is still a month and a half away. But Rudolph may be showing up a little faster than we originally thought. That's a Christmas reference, but it's also a reference to the quarterback situation. Bye.